I'm here at the Filmfest Munich, and my guest today is Tanel Toom, the director of Last Sentinel, or Last Contact as it's called in German.
Yeah.
For our viewers who are not here at the Filmfest Munich, can you tell me in your own words what the film is about?
I think, this film is about four characters in the end of the world, waiting. Basically, four characters in the middle of an ocean on a tower and waiting to get back home, and no one comes to see them. And then at some point, something appears on the horizon, and they think it's the relief, and that's where the real fun starts, because obviously it's not the relief, otherwise there wouldn't be a story and film. And and then the tension. I think it's a tense kind of character ride, because it's all about tension in between the characters and between characters who have been together for more than 2 years in one kind of small claustrophobic in a place, and that's where like some kind of external event pushes them into doing things they would have never done before. That's the fun part, at least for me.
And how did you come aboard of this project?
I came on board this project already like ages ago. I think it was 2010. And I lived in UK, and I was approached by the UK producer Ben Pullen and the writer Malachi Smith. So they had the first draft for their story, and they were looking for the director to kind of start or continue the journey and to develop the story together. And so I was drawn to it when I read it, because because there's this kind of two things that I always love this kind of contrast, that it's like quite a small intimate story in a way. There's only 4 characters and it happens in like one place, or it's a kind of a chamber piece, but in the setting, or it's like the contrast, like the background, or the epicness of it, but it happens in the middle of an endless ocean, and the backdrop is that it might be the end of the world, or are the others there. So there's these kind of two contrasting things. That one thing, it's like basically one of the films I remember when it came out, I really loved like I Am Legend, that it's a story about a man and a dog, but you cannot go bigger than that, because he's alone in the world, and it's the end of mankind. And so it's I love these kind of contrasts.
The space where your film takes place is very confined,
Yeah.
but not as much as in Das Boot from Wolfgang Petersen. But how was the process of creating this space?
Yeah, this was always, like, from the beginning we discussed it a lot with the production designer and with the cinematographer, and some of the things obviously are like that I wanted to create that claustrophobic feel. I wanted to also have that setting, or this rig where the story takes place, that it's like in one scene it's a jail, and it's like this metal coffin that might take them down, but in the other scene it's their home. So that this place should have very many different faces. But at the same time, what I mentioned, that but some things come logically in the end. That again, like if you're in the middle of an ocean and it needs to stay after big heavy storms and things, then obviously this should be a place with very few windows. It should be a place. It should be a really like a tough kind of tower or a castle, so obviously it's not gonna have glass walls and things, because it's not gonna survive any of the storms, and because tanks don't have windows. So it's kind of pretty logical in the end that it's how you're going towards that. But yeah, it's all it was the idea that I want to be inside, very claustrophobic, and also that therefore once we're really out, you really feel it physically as well, because you feel that contrast. If you would be somewhere in the middle, then you wouldn't really sense or feel the wide shots or the long shots, which with the epic scene, because then you've been inside for 15 minutes, and then suddenly boom, you let the image breathe, and you create that contrast and new energy. So
okay, you've managed to put together an impressive international cast with Kate Bosworth and Thomas Kretschmann. And was it always the plan to make it internationally?
Yeah, it was always planned to make it international, because first of all it is an Estonian, UK, German co-production, and it had to be in English, and also it's about this world that there's no that I think in this world where this story is set, there's no nations really, because there's only like 2 small continents left, and there's no and if there would be, let's say, all of them would be British actors, then you would still think, oh, okay, these are Brits, and this side is like, is it Britain or what? So already because of those reasons, you had to kind of mix it up. And mix it up again, like it's in a logical way enough, because I also didn't want to go like the other extreme would be that it's like completely making this international space station where there's like one from China, one from Russia, one from America, blah, blah. This is also, I didn't want to go there, definitely. And so we ended up somewhere there, and I think it's working pretty nicely.
Your film is more like a psychological drama than set in a futuristic world. Was that always the plan? Was it always
for me?
This
yes.
way?
Yeah. It's although it's being sold as like a sci-fi thriller, I think it's more like I've never looked at it as such a. I think even anyway, if I would do like a proper sci-fi, anyway, I'm looking for as a director or a storyteller, you're looking at characters and what's the human story, or what's because this is what you should pay attention as a filmmaker anyway, that to make the characters and the story believable, not just about like the visuals or the appearance of the world, but with this one, yeah, it's just that's the setting, but it's but for me it's definitely more like a psychological drama or psychological drama thriller. Yeah.
You don't tell us much about the world they live in. Just a few sentences at the beginning, and some clues here and there. That's all. I mean, that's all that you need to understand the story. But did you plan on? Yeah, doing...
this was we thought about it a lot, and this was a very conscious choice. Because there's and again, when does that line come? If you start giving bit more information, then you start asking already more questions, and then you need more information, and then you need to, at some point already, you need to show that. So you're kind of opening that Pandora's kind of box. So that was a very kind of difficult question for us. That okay, how much to give? That it's like right enough that yes, that kind of that incites you, but that it leaves the room because it's not important what exactly happened or what are they exactly there. The important story happens here, now, and I'm very glad that you kind of pointed out because it was for years we were talking and there had been some versions where we kind of knew it more, but then we understood that okay, now we know that much. Then we again already need to answer some other bigger questions. Then it needs more screen time, and then it becomes suddenly already some kind of a different story or about something else. So that was a very conscious choice to give as little information as possible, but that it's hopefully enough. That yeah.
I think it was a good choice. So, another fantastic genre film that I saw here in Munich was Paradise by Boris Kunz. And at the Q&A, the director said that it was almost impossible to finance the film because every funding organization said, no, we don't want to do that. And in your credits, I saw that your film was financed through different German and Estonian film funds. Mm-hmm. Did you face the same problems?
I guess it's yes and no. Like in Estonian, with the Estonian funds, I think we didn't face that problem. But here, I'm not too aware what problems did we face here. But I know that especially because it's yes, it is a small kind of. If you want to say it's a genre film, then it's okay. I'm not really saying that it's a kind of genre film, but yeah. But anyway, it's in that kind of scale of a movie. It's never easy to finance. But one thing is very funny that I really want to see that film Paradise, because my first time in Munich was in 2010. And it's a student film festival here, which was a great festival experience, very well organized and such a kind of fun, 3 or 4 days here. And Boris Kunz was here as well, so I know him, and I really, I would love to see, because his short film Daniel's Ashes was at that time here.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
How small the world is.
The world is really small.
So when you see the final film now, is it exactly what you had in mind in the first place?
No, the film is never exactly what you had in mind. It's impossible, and it's such and I think it's, first of all, also you don't really remember how did you first, because it's such a long and organic process, like making a film. Okay, you start looking for locations or building, and then you get used to this location, then you suddenly lose that location, then you're like, but none of these elements were in the first place anyway, I think it's maybe possible only with animation that it's gonna look like exactly how you kind of imagine. And then the budget comes in, and okay, you cannot have that, but you, in a way, you forget those things at some point. Also because the shooting process is quite long, then you're putting it together for almost a year. You don't really remember that much. I mean, because these changes happen every day or these things, and also already every actor brings something, and when I started working on the script, I didn't have exactly these actors in mind. Obviously, Lucien would have been 13 years old or 10 years old if so there's I think the thing is that it never does, and it's impossible. But the question maybe should be phrased more that is it the vision, or that is this the film you wanted to make, or is it about that thing, or is it saying those things but looking it's but otherwise
is it so?
Yeah, I mean it's been such a very interesting process when the story has been quite kind of different places over this like 10 or 13 years, and where we kind of finally arrived. And I think it's I think it's good for the film that it took so long to make it, because it is a different type of a film, and I'm a different type of a person, and I have a different experience, obviously, like when I finally did this, than when I would have done it in year 2010 or 2011. And I think the movie definitely doesn't suffer because of that I'm more kind of older and more experienced, and the world has changed as well a lot, so it's way more relevant, the story, unfortunately.
Okay.
This year.
You just mentioned, briefly mentioned, budgetary limitations. I think mostly it's good for a film, because you have to get creatively.
Yeah, I mean, all kind of limitations, like they force you to think creatively. I mean, if there wouldn't be, I mean, go and write an essay about what? No, you just think whatever. Then there's the first 5 hours you're sitting just like, what? It's like, no, but I'm giving you a topic, or this is already a restriction, and this, okay, then you are starting. So it's, yeah, I think restrictions are necessary, but obviously at one point, if you're just only like fighting with restrictions and you already have something in mind and in place, and then people come and say, no, you cannot have that, you cannot have that, then it's like, in the end of the day, this is not that. Do we want to tell that story if we don't, if we cannot show the sea, we cannot show the, then it's like, and then you as a filmmaker, as a director, should ask yourself that, do I want to make this anymore? That if it's like, it's not the thing I said yes to in the first place, and then you either need to go away or change it completely. But in general, yes, definitely. I mean, restrictions are pushing creativity, and very often, I mean, also on the set. I mean, well, this is also like for a director, it's very important that like very often you're working under very kind of stressful or stress situations. And you cannot just get locked and like, oh my God, what am I doing here? But now, okay, what can we do and how? And very often these decisions are so effective that you're later thinking that, holy shit, that why didn't I come up with this solution like before? Because this is the best solution, but I was forced to come up with this solution because the sun was already down and it was fucking raining, and we still had to do it somehow. And then I came up with this idea that, okay, but let's turn it around and let's do it in one shot, and I later digitally add something, blah blah, and then that's done. It's like very simple, but works like a charm. So sometimes it's very like interesting to look at some of your decisions or solutions, and you know that that happened thanks to the fact that we were in deep shit.
But hypothetically speaking, would you have done anything different if you had, let's say, unlimited time or endless money?
Yes, of course, obviously. I think it's hard to say what exactly, but definitely I would have had time to, like longer shooting time. Therefore, like maybe some I don't know, fancier shots or more like a moving camera, because we just literally didn't have time. So it's one of the things we like also had in mind, that there's more of cameras on dollies, but we just didn't have time for that. So and yeah, always. I mean,
I don't think that the film is missing that. It's perfect the way it is.
But it's all of course. I don't know what would it necessarily be better. That's a completely different question. But
absolutely.
Sometimes you might fuck it up as well if you have too much time and too much money. Start doing stupidities because you can.
Where did you shoot?
When or where?
When and where?
We shot it everything in Estonia, in Tallinn and around Tallinn. So it was all on stages. We built the interiors and we built the rig itself that doesn't exist. Obviously, this is all digital, and with the rooftop set, this is what we built. And it was all surrounded with blue screens and later replaced with sea and the platform underneath next to, so where the boat is parked. So the boat is real, and the shots with the boat are on real sea.
Okay.
And so yeah, it's really kind of combined or stitched together from different pieces, and hopefully you believe that it's one location in the middle of an ocean.
I believed it. Let's finish this interview with a look into the future. Is there anything on the horizon you can already talk about? Any new projects? What are you doing next?
There are a couple of things, but I don't know what goes first. Or there's one TV series I'm developing at the moment, which is a kind of it has in a way a small kind of sci-fi element to it as well, and murder, sci-fi, police kind of mini-series drama, and then there's another kind of feature that I'm developing, which is again something completely different from my previous two films, which is like this darkish, absurd comedy crime drama thriller, like something like a Coen Brothers Fargo style type of thing. But this is too early to talk about it, because it's like in a very early stage.
It sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the interview. Good luck with the film, and
thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It was lovely.